No, that's on. That's off.
Oh, right. And fuel pump ignition.
Hang on. Morning, welcome to the May Scramblers Assembly, which is a mini event. And so there are hundreds of minis here on site at Bicester Heritage. I'm here with Ivan Dutton, who's come and brought his very original 1959 car, which you may have seen on his own channel, Shed Racing, right, on YouTube, and I'm sure elsewhere. So Ivan, I just wondered if you could just quickly talk to us about the car and how early it is and its history.
It's all accident. I don't remember how I actually got in touch with the bloke. I think he advertised it on YouTube, what do they call it?
eBay?
eBay.
Yeah.
And it didn't sell or something happened, but somehow or other I got in touch with him. And it turned out that he had a pub, I think near Manchester, a serious pub, and his name was Phil Osborne.
Oh, so he had it for the plate.
So he bought this car for the number, and he pushed it in a little garage on the pub car park and left it there for 20 odd years. And anyway, he was going to retire from the pub business, and I think he was retiring to Spain. So anyway, I said, well, look, I'll buy the car, but I want the original number back on it. So he took it off his and put it back. But I bought it totally unseen. I mean, literally a couple of photographs, and I said, I'll have it. Because it is a real 59.
Yes.
Now, the difference between a 59 and a 60 is a lot of things. And so, anyway, I just took a gamble and bought it. It was quite a lot of money. But then, when I got it, I got the thing on the internet, the 59 register, and they print all the things that a 59 should have.
Right.
So I'm walking around it going, oh, look, it's got the original caps on there, you know.
Oh,
and look, it's got the original master cylinder.
Yes.
So I was absolutely knocked out with it, although
Yes.
I didn't know at the time, you know, obviously what it was going to be like. So in the end, it turned out to be a very good car.
So he wasn't using the car at the time,
No,
he just put it into
he hadn't
storage.
used it for 20 odd
Wow.
years. All he was interested in was the number. So really, the number saved its life.
Yes, yes.
Because it was put in a lock-up garage in the dry, and obviously not used in the salt and all
And
that thing.
it's easy to forget nowadays that just how revolutionary the Mini was back in the day, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You know, sideways engine, the gearbox in the sump of the engine.
Using the engine oil.
Using the engine oil
So
as gearbox.
obviously, if you've ever taken a magnetic sump plug out of a gearbox, it's always covered in bits.
Yeah.
So it ain't no different.
I know.
So it's obviously it's going through the filter,
Yeah,
isn't it?
and later on, even an automatic version, which is incredible. The automatic version also uses the engine oil as automatic gearbox oil, which is extraordinary.
Yeah.
But the 10-inch tyres didn't exist before the Mini was
No, I remember
produced.
years and years ago. I forget where I was, but I was in one of these sort of places where at the time they were tuning cars and that, and they worked it out that they reckoned if they tweaked up a Mini, it would do 100 miles an hour. So they rang up Dunlop and said, look, you know, are these tyres going to be all right? And they said, oh, yeah, they'll be all right, you know. And they were.
And they were, yeah. Because presumably when this came out, it was being sold. I mean, there was limited interest in the Mini when it first came out, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it almost didn't survive.
Well.
And they were trying to sell it presumably as a sort of compact, cheap family car.
Yeah.
There was no intention of racing it at that time, because I think that came later, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it was so ahead of its time that it struggled to find a market, didn't
That's
it? Until some movie stars and the like got into it.
English people are very I can remember my dad saying, has it got a starting handle? Not one of these.
And he wouldn't buy it if he hadn't.
They hadn't got a starting handle because they were so used to old-fashioned batteries that were always flat.
Yeah.
And the A35 had a starting handle. The Rover 3.5 V8 had a starting handle. Because I remember I left the lights on mine once and it came out and the battery was flat and I said, hang on a minute, that's got a starting handle. And I poked it in and it started.
No.
Miracle.
So what are some of the other details that mark this out as being a 59 car? Is
well, there's a lot of things.
The grill at the front, is that unique to
Well, yeah, not so much. It was mainly, you know, like the master cylinders and the fact that this is right at the end of the radiator, whereas the later ones
Oh,
there.
yeah.
And you walk around the car and there's so many things. And because the apertures for the screen are not pressed, there's just a hole.
Oh, yeah.
And also, it hasn't got the other gutter. You know the other, that extra gutter? Well, the 59 don't. And those two little squares, they only appear on the 59.
Good Lord.
And,
And what are they for? Bumpers
No,
for the
they
boy?
do anything, but obviously most of them had a little bit of a knock, and of course they've
Are being changed. Yeah.
been changed.
Yeah,
so that
yeah,
was
yeah.
very lucky.
Yeah.
And the silly thing is, round here, they used to fill up with water. So when they went to be serviced, they said in the service they stuck a bit of rubber
foam
down there.
Yeah.
Down there, look, and you can
Which
see
then
where-
causes it to rust.
Which is causing it to rust. But what
Yeah.
happens is the water runs out of there
Yeah.
and runs straight in the car. So
Brilliant.
that was to help guide it away.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then when they made them originally, they didn't put a hole in there.
Oh, to drain the gutter out.
So when it went for servicing, they had to
First service, they drilled a hole.
they drilled a hole, and then they had to touch the paint up.
Yeah, of course,
You know,
yeah.
and of course they sent them abroad as well. I mean, really, they were a prototype, and they went all over the world.
Yeah.
So all over the world, they were having to sort out all these insurance claims.
Oh,
You know,
yes,
or-
warranty.
or warranty
Yeah,
claims.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
yeah.
you know, they were filling up with water, and the gearbox leaked, and the synchro mesh lasted
Stopped
10 minutes.
working, yeah, yeah.
Although this car, I don't know what's happened in its life, because obviously it had a long life, but the synchro, it's not brilliant, but it's there. You
And
know,
that may be because it's been off the road for such a long time. Because
Possibly.
What we found is that modern people put modern 2050s into a Mini.
Yeah.
And of course, 2050 engine oil isn't expecting to be in a gearbox.
Yeah.
And it's got friction modifiers in that, of course, hate synchro meshes, and that's what causes them to fail.
Got it. Yeah,
So
'cause
whereas
they're made
old
of brass.
2050s, old 2050s aren't so clever, and so they'll work.
Yeah.
But now you've also brought with you these two engines here, which are prototype BLMC units.
Well,
And
I
they were-
think that when they first talked about the Mini, obviously they had the usual meetings, and of course the thing at the time were bubble cars.
Yes.
And I forget his name now, but the governor said, look, we want to get rid of these bubble cars. We don't want a bubble car. You know, and they didn't really know what they were doing.
Yes.
And obviously they got a department to do this, so they had to give them something to do. And I think that two-cylinder engine was just let's get started.
Something kind of mimicking what the bubble cars are already doing with their singles and twins.
And then they said, well, you can have any engine you like, but it's got to be in production. Well, the only engine was the 850 engine.
Yeah.
So that just went out the board, you know.
Right. So it never made it. But
It never made it
But
anywhere.
the photographs that you showed me earlier on, they had it running with a gearbox in the sump in the same way that the Mini later.
Yeah, exactly. But nothing like the final engine.
Yes. Yes.
So obviously when they cleared out the department, that got scrapped.
Yes.
And the scrap man thought, oh, that looks interesting, put it to one side. And a young kid who's been here today bought it, and I bought it off him. But all we had was the cylinder block and the cylinder head with the valves. So, but then when we really looked at it, it's all like obviously an 850 Mini.
So that was it. That was it. Just that
bit.
that bit there. Oh, and you had the block as well.
And the block.
And the block. Yeah.
So I bought an old 850 Mini engine, and we cut the crankshaft up and silver soldered it together, and it's all on YouTube.
Yep.
Lots of people said, oh, that ain't going to work.
Isn't gonna work, yeah,
But
yeah.
because it does work.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we made the camshaft from a BMC camshaft by altering it all and
Yeah.
again bodging it.
Yeah.
So I decided, we wouldn't spend any money. It's got to be done for nothing.
In-house, yeah.
So we made the sump. We altered the rocker cover. You can
Yes, I can
where
see
we
that.
cut
Yeah,
it down
yeah,
and put it together.
yeah.
And then we made the camshaft. And then one of our followers wrote in and said, "They ain't going to work. You've got that all wrong." And he was dead wrong.
Oh, the cam timing was
the cam was wrong,
Yeah.
and the distributor was wrong. He said, "No, that won't work," and he was right.
Yes. Yeah.
But we weren't clever enough to work out in our heads. We had to do it. So then we altered it to what he reckoned, and of course it worked perfectly.
Brilliant.
And
Brilliant.
so that was it. So rather than being an old rusty block in my shed, it's now got some
runs.
kind of history, really.
Fantastic.
And then this engine here,
Yeah, the air-cooled. So this is an
Again,
air-cooled two-stroke.
twin-cylinder two-stroke. And what happened with that was, one of the followers wrote in and said, I know a bloke who's got the two-cylinder Mini engine, not the Mini engine, that they were experimenting with.
Yes.
And they made a lightweight A30, and they put that engine in. We had a lot of trouble to try and get it to run. We've had it running.
So, but this is although it's a two-stroke, it's not using the crankcase to compress the mixture going into the.
It does.
It does. Okay.
Yeah,
So
it's got a transfer port.
okay.
But it's got two cylinders, so it's a four-cylinder engine, actually.
Yes.
So the exhaust comes out of one side, and the inlet comes in on the other side. So,
Amazing.
So it makes it more efficient.
Yeah.
And the single cylinder one was raced on motorbikes, was fantastically successful. But again, I think they were blundering about.
Just trying different things.
You know, when
And
you've
this
got
is-
a great department, you've got to
yes,
give them
got to
something
use
to
it.
do.
Yeah, and is this all aluminium or is
Yes,
it
it's all
all aluminium?
And
Bottom
it
and-
really, it's just two single ones put together.
Yes.
But it's been done properly, you know.
Yes.
I mean, it ain't been welded or
And
anything
so
like
that was fitted in an
in an
A30.
A30. So it had that steel plate
Adapter for
when
the
I
gear-
got it.
Yeah.
And it also had a BMC flywheel.
Did it?
So, you know, it was easy to put that on, just
And,
to
and
hold
was
it up.
so that was that ever used in anger? This
Yes. Yeah, the man who designed the engine and saw the engine through, he used to drive this lightweight A30. And when he left, it went with him. And I think it had an accident or something, and they just scrapped it.
Good Lord.
But it'd be a fabulous thing
Just
to
a
have
one-off
now.
car,
Yeah.
wouldn't it, just?
It was made of lighter material, and it didn't have a boot lid. You know,
Good Lord, yes.
To save weight.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I think it was even a convertible.
Wow.
But there is a book about the small Austins, and it's all in there.
Wow.
I mean, I'm only quoting what I've read in a book.
Yeah.
You know.
So and this is, what did you say? This was 600cc.
I think it's about
600.
yeah.
So producing probably about the same as an 850 Mini.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it produced a lot of power, but
Yeah.
it used a load of fuel.
Yes, loads of fuel, and it would sound a bit
and
odd.
of course, then you'd have to mix the fuel with
Yes,
oil.
yes. But in those days, in the 50s, that wasn't an unusual thing,
No,
was it? I mean, bubble
can
car
remember,
owners.
I was involved in an Esso garage, and we had a special pump,
For two-stroke, yeah.
two-strokes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but there were
Brilliant.
millions of them.
Brilliant. Well, let's just quickly start the four-stroke and.
Yeah, we'd do that.
Brilliant. Let's have a look at that.
Don't know why that does any
Seems to,
different.
I think it gets a bubble out the way, doesn't it?
Something like that.
Amazing. Isn't that incredible?
Sounds like a cement mixer.
It does, doesn't it?
That's off an Austin Healy.
Yes,
Just bits we had, really.
yes. And you configured the crankshaft so that the pistons are going 180 degrees apart.
don't like that,
So the
yeah.
firing order is a little bit uneven, like a Harley Davidson.
And I put a damper on the front of the crank.
Oh yeah,
And I thought that would be a good idea.
yeah, good idea. Yeah.
And,
Oh,
and then
amazing.
obviously the crankshaft wasn't in line, so he took it to the grinders and they ground it undersides and squared it all up.
Brilliant.
But we
Brilliant.
were amazed, really, when it started, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah. Well, thank you very much for. Shall I switch it off? Thank you very much for bringing that, and thanks for preserving such an incredible, unique,
Yeah.
or two amazingly
Yeah.
unique pieces
I
of
mean,
history.
you know, it's going to finish up somewhere one day.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, you know, on the farm, where my son's bought the farm off me now.
Yes.
And he's going to have to put some buildings up, and somewhere along the line, you know, I've got a collection
a
of
little
midget.
Ivan Dutton museum.
Yeah, I've got a collection of midget racing
Yes.
cars. And, you know, I've got my 59 Mini, I've got a 59 Austin Mini, so that's an Austin 7, they call
Yes,
that.
yeah.
And that's 59. So there's a load of old junk, really, that we, you know, if we sell it, the money you spend it, don't you?
Yeah, sure.
That's
sure.
the problem.
So keep them and let people see them.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for bringing these with you
You're
today,
very
Ivan.
welcome.
Really,
And of
really
course,
appreciate
you know, we also appreciate your business.
Well, thank you very
It's very nice to be able to ring somebody up and say blah blah blah, and you've seen it all and done it all, and you say no, you don't want to put modern 2050 in there because it's not going to work.
Yeah. Well,
know,
that's
I
what
mean-
that's what we try and do.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much indeed.
I mean, I've been at it all my life, but I can't say I know everything about oils.
No, quite well. Yeah.
So that's it.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much indeed.